Hello and welcome back to Daring and Doing. I'm Will Hester and I'm joined by the brilliant Ben Bowman. Ben, take a deep breath. Let out a sigh. Feel that dopamine racing through your body.
I can feel it.
I've been told to sort of limit my language on this podcast, but there's no other way of putting it. We fucking dick slapped Man United right across the face. Right across the face. I think that's what we did. And got his knob and just fucking tapped it on Ten Hag's chin. What the fuck am I talking about?
Just tapped it on his cheek.
That was a chin. Oh. Fucking hell. We that's what we did. Like in football terms, we did
just bounced it on his head.
Just rested it on his head and his balls.
Power
anyway,
yeah.
that was probably the biggest power move you could possibly do. Mate, how good is it to wake up on a Monday morning with just knowing Tottenham turned up and made a statement?
Do you know what the best thing is as well?
What?
I told all of you.
What?
I said it.
Yeah, you did.
I've been saying it for weeks. I've been saying it for weeks.
Yeah.
I said weeks ago. I said a month ago when we lost to Newcastle, the day after we lost a game of football to Newcastle, I said we will batter Manchester United. I said if we can just click.
Yeah.
By the time we play United at Old Trafford, because Liverpool played that same day as us at Old Trafford when we lost to Newcastle, and they beat them 3-0. High pressing, energy, turning the ball over, being clinical.
Yeah.
What did Spurs do yesterday? High intensity, pressing,
exactly that.
Turnovers, being clinical. We rattled them. They did not know what day it was. We put them in a blender. It was just like, that was... Do you know how satisfying that was? Because I said it. I was like, the only thing that was holding me back, I was like, is our record there. And we've won a few times in the last few years. We beat them 6-1. That was a better performance yesterday when we beat them 6-1. And it should have been more. And do you know what it felt like? It felt like I've seen Man City go there to Old Trafford and beat them like 2-0, 3-0. And it's almost like we could go win 6 or 7. But it's almost more humiliating to be like, now we're just going to toy with you.
Yeah, just keep the ball.
Yeah, we're just going to keep the ball. But every time we got the ball, we went forward. We were fantastic yesterday. That, I think, look, United were terrible, really bad. And look, that will be the narrative after the game from the media about United and obviously Ten Hag and all that shit. I don't care. Let them not talk about us. We know how good we were. We knew how good we were before this game.
Yeah.
We told you. That was just like, that was literally holding up your phone and going, see? Look there. I told you.
Yeah.
I told you 3-0. I've been telling you about this game. I've been telling you about this team for weeks that we are clicking. We're getting there. We've had a few little bumps along the road, but that was coming, and it was a statement that we needed just to shut everybody up. But we knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. I felt it in my balls.
I didn't know it was coming. You got those spidey tingling senses, mate.
Yeah.
In your
I just
balls.
thought we could do it. I looked at that performance at Liverpool put in at Old Trafford a few weeks ago and was like, look, we're not Liverpool. We're not. Liverpool got world-class attack, ruthless, killers. We had got Timo Werner at left wing yesterday. But the way that we were better than them in the way that we turned the ball. We were so aggressive. We won the ball back 7 times in their final third in that first half. That's the second most in any single Premier League game this season in a half of football. This team is just moving mountains and just like shutting everybody up left, right, and centre, just dick slapping, just like Ten Hag, bosh.
Yeah.
We were so good yesterday. So good. It was the most satisfying performance. Maybe the best performance of the Postecoglou era, for one. To do that at Old Trafford, but the most satisfying as well, because like I said, I said it, and also just to shut everyone up a little bit.
Jamie Carragher, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you want to write that article now, Carragher, do you? Want to say, Ange might get sacked because we're a bit too open at the back? Fuck off. Sorry, I actually like Carragher.
He's your mate.
I know, I'm sorry.
I've been with you since day one.
I've been with you since day one. That's me about Kulusevski as well. That's why it was so sad. I've been with you since day one.
Yeah.
Oh,
what a player. Oh. Yeah. I got goosebumps. Ben still thinks he's at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
He's still there.
Do that on Ten Hag's head.
Yeah, mate. I mean, you called it. I mean, what's interesting is last weekend we were saying, was that the best performance under Postecoglou, which is such a positive sign because Spurs of recent years will have a really good game. We'll be like, okay, let's push on, and then disappointed next week. Like, and that's the same old story. But
yeah,
to have two games where you could argue either one in a row with Europe in between. Was Postecoglou's? Was that the best game so far under Postecoglou? Shows that we are heading in the right direction. So, I mean, proper statement. That's what we needed. We were saying this in the preview. We needed this statement to sort of just put us on the map. And it unfolded exactly how you predicted, and like fair play to you. I mean, that's why people love listening to you, mate, because your ball knowledge is through the roof.
The oracle. That's what
the oracle, mate. Yeah. But how did we absolutely destroy Man United?
The pressing, the intensity from minute one. I mean, to go 1-0 up like that inside the first couple of minutes of the game. But do you know what's crazy? We went up, it was inside 3 minutes. We went 1-0 up inside 3 minutes. But before that, even then you could see it was like, we're at it. They're not. We're at it. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
We walked onto that pitch like we were better than them because we are, man for man, across the pitch. We are a better team than they are. And we showed it. We've not done that in the past before. And look, they are really bad. Like, they're genuinely really bad. I don't know what they do well. I don't know what their style of players. And these are all, these are becoming cliches now about Man United. But they're cliches for a reason because they're true. Everyone talks about Ten Hag's lack of identity and style of play. But we were fantastic. Like, that Van der Ven run, just to get out of my way, we're better than you. Get out of my way, I'm coming through. Like, that quote after the game, it was like, nah, I saw the space and I was like, nah, I'm doing it. And just ran. It was like that arrogance and that confidence that this team kind of has. And then we followed that up straight away, like with that winning the ball back up the pitch. Like I said, we turned it over 7 times in their final third. We knew we were going to do it. We knew we've done that the second most, or coming into this game, I think the second most amount out of any team in Europe in terms of winning the ball back up the pitch. We did it 7 times in the first half. We've been doing that against Brentford. We've been led to goals. We've been doing it against Arsenal, which didn't quite lead to anything, and it led to goal. It didn't lead to a goal on Sunday, but it led to that just sustained pressure and just being able to play the ball outside on the edge of their penalty area for the whole first half. They tried to hit us on the counter attack. They tried to go over the top. That was going to be their only route. Really trying to get Rashford and Garnacho in. There was one time where Rashford had a shot which Vicario saved. He was offside. Our high line, the discipline of that. They thought they were kind of going to feast in behind. Garnacho had a couple of moments. Xerxes had that toe poke shot. They were kind of half chances, really. Garnacho volley against the post. These aren't real chances. They're not cutting us open. These are moments in games. But everything else that we did, even before the red card, like we had 60% possession. We dominated the football. Before the red card. And I said it on Twitter, and maybe it was a bit of a reach, but it reminded me of Villa away last year, where they couldn't live with us, so they kick us. And then that's what happens. You get frustrated, you get a man sent off, and then just the game completely opens up even more for Tottenham. The McGinn one was at 2-0 at Villa, and this one was at 1-0 at Old Trafford. And I'll be honest, like, of course, having Bruno Fernandes on the pitch for the second half of the game is massive. Of course it is. But it didn't change the trajectory of that game. Look, they might have gone in at half-time and gone, right, fucking hell, lads, come on, right. But this is Man United. Like, I don't believe they've got that in them. I don't believe they've got that. This is Manchester United. But
we're talking about to get top 4, win the league.
That is a top impression. What did they do? Yeah, they don't have it in them. They don't have the stomach. They don't have the bottle for these big games. Ten Hag, I saw a stat yesterday that I could not believe was true. Man United, under his tenureship, have conceded 3 or more goals in a game. How many times do you think they've done that?
17 times.
25 times.
Oh my God.
3 or more goals. So there were goals there for Spurs yesterday, and we did it in the second half. We should have had more. Chance after chance after chance, pressing, everything. We just suffocated them. Absolutely suffocated them. And that was a performance of a real top side. A real top side. Like I said, I think we did what Liverpool did, but we did it better in a funny way. I know they were 2 up at half time, but or certainly as good as them. And if that's the North Star, like you want to be, if your North Star kind of goal is to be like a title challenger, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City. Yes, Man United are nowhere near that, and they're not a top 4 side, and they could genuinely probably finish in the bottom half of Ten Hag there all season. You have to caveat that, of course. But we made them look even worse because we were so good and so, just incredibly intense was the best word. Unstoppable and intense. Just ridiculous performance, I thought. Unbelievable from Spurs.
Well, it sort of just backs up last week, it finally clicking for Spurs, and now we're like kicking on because, okay, when you're away from home, you need to stun or stun the home crowd because Old Trafford can become a fortress, but it can get frustrated very easily, and we frustrated them instantly with just being more aggressive and then scoring an early goal, and then throughout the whole game, like you're saying, winning the ball back with our high press, that didn't lead to a goal in this game. We found other ways to score a goal, but score 3 goals. But just through that alone, we could have scored about 4 more goals.
Yeah,
and then we'd be saying it's 7-0. I mean, it generally could have been that.
Yeah,
I mean, Xerxes, that Garnacho did better than I thought he did to make that connection hit the post.
Yeah,
Xerxes should have done better, but they were the only 2 real opportunities were there. I'm trying to think if there was another one, but
Rashford, Rashford had that 1-on-1, but he was offside. A couple of half chances in the second half,
But we never sweated really. We just dominated the ball. The triangles, the fucking hell, what was that? Intricate passing.
Milan. Intricate.
Intricate. Oh my days! Why couldn't I think of that? Yeah, the intricate passing, the triangles. It just clicked, and that front 4. I'm gonna say front 4 because Kulusevski does join that. He connects it all with Maddison. They're the orchestrators, but Kulusevski joins that top 4. That top 4 has clicked, and that's without Son. And we'll get on to Werner later, but that is with that because there's a lot of questions about Son when we put out the questions. But specifically, I think Kulusevski, Solanke, and Johnson, that has clicked. That triangle has
100%.
clicked with Porro like coming a little bit deeper, Maddison now and again. But those 3, what a combination from the 3 of them, and you're seeing the confidence it's installing in them, and the trust it's installing in them, the movement. They can put it in a spot and know Johnson's already on his bike. Kulusevski knows exactly where Solanke is. Solanke's drawing defenders away. When they press, they're in tangent as well. Mate, is Johnson scoring again? And Solanke's scoring again. Yeah, I mean, midweek they gave us a little teaser of who was going to score.
Yeah,
but Solanke, Johnson, when he scored, and then it showed his dad, I was really confused. Do you know why? Because I was like overwhelmed by emotion, thinking like when he started smiling, I was like, mate, this is look, his dad's so proud of him. Like, oh my God. And then I looked down and I thought, why am I rock hard?
Look at his dad's quite a handsome guy, to be fair.
Yeah, but it's clicked. Johnson scoring goals, Solanke scoring goals, all this stuff that we were playing well. We had a lot high possession, but we were saying we're not creating chances, we're not scoring goals, and we're toothless. Fucking hell, we are on fire now. Like we are absolutely on fire, and it's like all the stress you were feeling, all the doubts you were feeling. You're thinking, oh, okay, that's just being caught up in the moment and being an emotional fan because we were all thinking, oh, is this working?
You want to see a team win games, don't you?
All of a sudden, it's clicked. The chemistry's there. Don't forget, it's a new front 3. Solanke, we're not used to really having a focal point up front.
Yeah.
And it's clicked, and that this process is coming along nicely. I think it is, and we've dismantled Man United from every aspect of it, like every area on the pitch.
Yeah. I was just going to say 9 big chances we created. Like you talking about the chances created there. 9 big chances we created in their back garden. They didn't have 1. Didn't have 1. We had 9.
And that was all Kulusevski on it?
Yeah, well, Kulusevski created 7, or was it 7, I think it was? Or 9 or something, like ridiculous. Like
a joke.
Well, yeah, he deserves his own section.
Yeah, we'll get onto him, but that's amazing.
9 big chances we created in their back garden. They didn't have one. But it's clicking now.
It's clicking. It is clicking. And it's only going to get better. And we're going to add some more players. And there's more players. I mean, we still haven't really seen much of Odebear because he got injured, didn't he, on his third start. But what we saw against Everton was showing that he's capable and he's competent. So it's about sort of integrating him in as well. But do you think this game is the one where, like, we put the marker down? We've made a statement. Because I know Man United are shit. Like, let's not pretend. But let's not pretend that we don't, that we turn up every year at Old Trafford and we perform well, because we don't. We always get. That's why I was doubting. But I thought we're a better team than Man United at the moment. But it's the sort of history repeats itself in football. It does that a lot, and I just thought they were going to be up for it. But no, from the minute one we were at them, and it was a dicking. Do you think this was like the statement win that we can now build? This is we started building the momentum, but this is the one now. This is the catalyst sort of thing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I think I did the fighting cock earlier this morning. Flav made a good point about the actually being. I think being in Europe, I think we all thought was going to be a little bit. Oh, this squad is a bit thin, and look that those issues are still there a little bit, but. How good is it for building that momentum? That's 4 wins in a row. That would have been 2 wins in a row last year. Gaps between games. You know, Johnson has rewritten his whole narrative around him in the fan base in the space of 2 weeks, but he's played 4 games and scored 4 goals. You know, it's like things can change so quickly when you're able to build up that bit of momentum. And that's what Europe does for us. Winnable games in the Europa League as well does help, but it's still winning. You still have to win. You still have to score goals. 2 clean sheets on the bounce as well now. Probably should have kept a clean sheet against Brentford if it wasn't for that wonder goal. Look, they had chances as well, of course, that. But the defence is getting better. We've got the second joint best defence in the Premier League. We're second in the expected points table in the Premier League. All of the things that we've been saying about this is where we should be, but we're not there. And look, we're still, I don't know, 7th. I don't know where. I actually don't know where we are on the table. The table
don't matter right now. Don't matter. We're 5 points off top. That's what we're talking about.
That sounds good. Is that good?
I mean, that's 2 wins. I think
that's 2 wins exactly. Interesting. But we're second in the expected points table. And I know some people won't buy into that shit, but like it matters because it shows you that we're going somewhere. We are going somewhere. Yeah. You can learn things from those kind of stats. And again, I think the last few games have just been. Last weekend was really satisfying, and it was an important against Brentford. It was really satisfying and an important marker to put down. To turn the form around, especially after Coventry, which we got that win, but oh my god, we were lucky. But it was an important marker. Brentford, it really was a home performance, a statement to come back like that and play the way that we did in that game, and then to go away to Old Trafford. Like I said, they're rubbish. They are rubbish, but it's not easy. And I think the statement more comes to the people on the outside to say, "Look at us now," or "Don't look at us." Yeah. I'd rather you didn't look at us. Because you keep saying that Andrew's under pressure and you keep saying that this is a massive game for him and you keep saying that, if they lose this, then he's going to be, or is he going to be the next manager be sacked or whatever? Not absolute nonsense. It's nonsense. Yeah. And we just put a pin in all of that and just shut your fucking mouth to everybody there.
Shut your fucking mouth.
Shut your fucking mouth. And no, it was a statement in that aspect for sure. And I think we need. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that we didn't need to see that, like Spurs fans. I was almost thinking that, like, we know where we're going. Whether we beat them 3-0 or not, we can still see that. But that is a real marker, and just say no. We really know where we're going. Like, we really do know where we're going under Ange. So, and again, it's good for him. Like, good for him after the game yesterday to have that, to have on your CV a 3-0 win at Old Trafford, regardless of whether United are 10th in the league or 1st in the league. Is still a real statement. So I thought we played really well, and I think we thoroughly deserved it for one, and as we've already spoken about. But also, we were. I think it is a marker. I don't even think it's a turning point. I've seen some people describe it as a turning point. I don't think it's a turning point. I think we were on the bend anyway. I think, but now we've taken even. The bend has gone sharper,
and we've accelerated.
Yeah, put the foot down.
Yeah. I mean. I do think that it's crazy how quick things can turn around in football, isn't it? Because Brentford, we were saying, it's a massive game for Postecoglou to just prove a bit that it was wrong. Like if we're rocked by Brentford, if we draw, if we lose, I can't really see I can see a lot more fans turning on Postecoglou than and it becoming a problem for him. But we've 4 wins now on a bounce, just like that. And I've really, and it just fills you with confidence that we are going somewhere. And the eye test was there and the data for us Spurs fans this whole season. The eye test has been there. We've been playing a lot better, I think, just without the goals and without that ruthlessness up front. And the frustration was we weren't ruthless up front. We get penalised and we get capitalised on at the back. But the data shows as well that we're improving at the back. So for neutrals, they look at the results this season and think, "Oh, Ange's going nowhere with this project. Like Ange's tactics aren't they're not the way to go. You're gonna get found out." We've just stuck in there. And we thought, okay, let's just see. Like, this is a long season, and like you're saying, Europe helps. Europe helps having those games in between. That does help because it just you can like you're saying with Johnson, Solanke, plus the chemistry. Son, Solanke, and Johnson, they played again in Europe. I don't think many people were expecting that. We were obviously going to play Son if he was fit, but it accelerates the chemistry sort of and therefore the process. Playing extra games. We're there now, and I think that was the sort of win to sort of put us on the map, and now like opposition fans, rival fans, and the neutrals are going to be thinking, "Fucking hell, Spurs are aside," and just seeing players like Kulusevski perform because he doesn't get his flowers a lot of the time from rival fans.
No,
is Kulusevski the best player in the league right now?
Could be. It's him or Palmer, isn't it? Like the last, and in terms of
they've created most chances, joint most chances created
with 15. Exactly, they're monsters. I mean, Palmer is just a sensational player, but
he's
Kulusevski again. It's just like we've been telling you this. Like we've been telling you. It's just not. I'm not saying we, like me and you, but like Spurs fans generally have been looking at what he's been doing this season. Do you know what? It's really satisfying because I think sometimes pre-seasons can be a bit of a false dawn sometimes, and look, we Spurs have had many false dawns in the past, just generally anyway. But you know, how many times we've seen it with players in pre-season? It's like, oh my word, like player here. Obviously, Kulusevski's been there for a while, and we probably figured towards the end of or at some point last season when he was obviously playing in that number 10 position, when Maddison was out, and then obviously towards the end of the season playing that false 9 role, how important he could be and how influential he could be in that position. But this pre-season was so important for him to just get that game time there, and then just take that into the Premier League, and he's been excellent in every game. Well, he didn't even start against Leicester, did he? Which, when you think about it now, is obviously crazy. And that Everton game was kind of a turning point for Ange, almost to be like, no, this is it now. And we've played, other than obviously the Newcastle game, we had other injuries to work around, and Solanke not being there, so we had to go back through the middle. We spoke about it on Friday. Or I think we maybe even spoke about it before then. It's like, is this it now? Is this how we are? Is this who we are, mate? Like, as in terms of the formation. And I think it is. And because why would you not? He can be our best player. Like he can. He's been our best player this season.
Yeah.
And you know, people will say it like people after Coventry, like people talking about building the team around him. And I get that there were some doubters at that point, but he is the most influential player in this team and probably the first name on the team sheet right now. And look, we've got a lot of those that can contend for that. I thought Maddison was great again yesterday, to be fair to him. And look, Maddison isn't going to get the flowers because I think so for so long, I think people have. I think Maddison has kind of been defined as a goals and assists player, like an output kind of number 10, because he's had great output over the years. You are what you become what you are. You know what I mean? It's like, and that becomes kind of your reputation. But Maddison's sitting deeper in this role alongside Bentancur that little bit more. His off the ball work has improved so much since he left Leicester anyway, but it's gone up another gear this season. I think he's had a real almost like it's really clicked for him. And look, I don't care how many goals and assists Maddison gets this season. If he plays like that, like he did on Sunday and he did last week against Brentford, obviously got a goal in that game. But if his off the ball work stays like this, the things with Maddison, I kind of look at him and obviously it's going on a bit of a tangent from Kulusevski, but I do think Maddison deserves the flowers for that performance as well. I thought he was really good. I think he just wants to be on the ball, and I think this system actually allows that. He's one of those players, you know, at 5-a-side, like you play, or like Sunday leagues, like give me the ball.
Who, Kulusevski or Maddison?
Maddison, sorry. Like I think that's why this midfield dynamic is working really well.
Yeah.
Because I think, like I said, Maddison's got this reputation as a goals and assist man, But actually, I think he wants to be that 100-touch man, just like, give me the ball and everything's going to go through me. I think he's having influence on big games. And look, I don't think he had enough of it on the North London derby. And that's why I was frustrated. I think he was a bit knee-jerk.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people felt a bit knee-jerk after the back of that. And look, I'll man up. And look, I want to see this more. But I think in this role, I think he's actually going to be more consistent in this role than if he was playing as that more out-and-out number 10, maybe, I think. But then him having the relationship that him and Kulusevski have got together. You spoke about the relationship earlier with Johnson, Solanke, Son, and Kulu, who's that front four. The relationship that Kulusevski and Maddison have got is top work. And I think it must be great for Maddison as well, because if he does want to go that little bit further forward, and you've seen him making quite a few good runs from deep as well so far this season, almost Dele Alli kind of esque, to go beyond Solanke. I think what Kulusevski does as well is allow him to do that, because Kulusevski is so good in build-up in deeper positions as that more of a number 8. It was almost like a Dembele-esque kind of performance yesterday, but the Dembele with the finesse and the quality that he's got in the final third. He is just so influential. I think I saw something that no one's got more dribbles per 90 in the Premier League than him this season. There was another stat as well that he's top of per 90. Might have been, I can't remember what it was, but I'll find it in a sec. He's just an absolute joke of a player. And again, it kind of comes back to this thing about Ange not adapting. He's found that, maybe that was the missing piece, because I think it's just really put this again. People on paper will look at that team and think that's really overwhelmingly attacking and gung ho, and United fans were looking at that probably thinking, God, we can get these lot, But Kulusevski is going to work as hard as Sarr, and it's no disrespect to Sarr whatsoever. He's going to work as hard as Sarr up and down the pitch. He's a workhorse. He puts the team on his back. Try and get near him, no way. And he's got that ability to drive from deep. He's just a fantastic player with an unbelievable mentality. That quote from him yesterday was just like, I feel unstoppable. He was like, I've been waiting to play in this position. I feel unstoppable, and I can feel like I can do what I want. That is powerful. Like, we've always said that Kulusevski with confidence is a frightening player, but I think we might just be about to see the best of him. Like, I think it's frighteningly good, man.
It's the same with Maddison and Kulusevski. I think you're putting them more central, and they become part of the core of this team, and it doesn't. They can't hide now. When like going would get rough, and you'd be like, "Where's Maddison then?" And he would go hiding a little bit. But when he's like the heartbeat of the team, Kulusevski, when they're central, they have to be there during the tough times as well now.
Absolutely,
so they're going to be more involved, and that's going to generate consistency, because they're never going to go hiding. They have to be there, and they have to put the work in, and they are. And I think it's such a premeditated sort of concept from Ange to shift Kulusevski centrally, because we were seeing glimpses of it when Maddison was out, and we were saying, he can play here, but he was playing for like a little bit further forward. He was just doing the role Maddison was doing last season, basically. But Kulusevski coming out and saying how he had to improve his defending first. Now he feels like he can do that, and he can play in that position. And now he's basically saying he's a pretty complete player, and he is. And let's just see if he can keep this up. But he is at the moment, he is a very complete player.
That was his most complete performance for Spurs, and
100%, 10 out of 10,
and arguably one of the most complete performances I think I've seen from a Spurs player individually in a long time. Certainly in a big game.
Yeah, and him and the fact and it's hit the ground running. Him, Maddison, and Bentancur, and he said that balance works now because the defensive work is there, and they can cover defensively, like all three of them. Bentancur was ridiculous again, but Kulusevski, and I think it's a premeditated idea, because we were looking at players like Gallagher and Eze, who are more on the attacking side. I know Gallagher's more box to box than Eze, but Eze can play number 8, and that's his probably best position for Palace when he's playing number 8. And that you can now see what we were trying to do if they were brought in Eze and Maddison or Gallagher and Maddison. It would have worked, because that's how Ange Postecoglou was always going to play this season, and it's just clicked, and it's perfect, and the way we're playing, the fluidity. And said at the beginning of his career, he said that. His career at Spurs, he said at the beginning, he wants to implement the sort of minerals and the foundations into the style of play, so that it then gives the freedom, the creativity for players to be creative and to make their own decisions on the pitch. And it allows players to sort of get into that flow state and know what's best for the team and what's best in attacking areas and the link up and the chemistry. And that is all coming together, because sometimes we would look a bit disjointed. It would be frustrating. But I think everyone, like a doggy now knows, if Maddison does push forward, a doggy just fills in the middle.
Yeah.
Same for Porro. If Kulusevski goes a bit forward, the fluidity and the cohesion within the squad is there, and it's all implemented by Postecoglou, because and that's what he said he would do, and he said also, and if that's come true, and he said that, he also said he's going to win a trophy. Everything he says, he delivers. He's like a postman.
He's a man of his word.
So exactly, he is a man of his word. So that's, you're thinking, what is the end game for Ange Postecoglou? We talked about it last week, when we beat Brentford. Is this sort of the way we're going to play, and when we're at the peak in, say, a couple of years? Because don't forget, it's a young team. We've got outstanding players. They've got about 5 years before they reach their peak, the majority of them. Yeah. So what is the end game? But it is complete fluidity and intensity, and just understanding what we want to do, how we want to play. Wearing the Tottenham shirts, we're going to play the Tottenham way, but you're going to have that creative flow state from every single player, because they know exactly what Postecoglou wants from them, and they're going to know each other's games in and out, because and the stakes are so high. But once it clicks, I don't think we're going to. I think you're going to see less and less that we're going to get exploited, because players know where to cover. They know every area on the pitch. They know what everyone's job is.
Yeah.
And it's clicking. But so you're looking at the next 5 fixtures. I've got a note of them, because I was thinking about the Villa game, our away game against Villa. It was really, really good. 4-0, and that was probably our best performance last season under Ange, maybe, arguably. But it was a statement win, because we were going for top 4 with them, and we beat them away from home very comfortably. And it was like you sort of said earlier. McGinn getting sent off sort of paralleled, or Bruno getting sent off sort of paralleled the McGinn sending off. They just started kicking us. They were getting frustrated. But the next game after Villa, we went and lost to Fulham.
Yeah.
So, and that's sort of a common theme for Spurs, I think, in seasons gone by, that we'll have a really good performance, a statement performance, and we'll go and lose again, a game where we should win, and maybe we're not. Maybe we think we're better than we are, or we're overstimulated in one game and we're not in the next game, or we're not up for it. So what I need to see now is us backing this performance up. I think this is as important as the last 2 games. So just keep that consistency, keep that intensity, keep that levels. So we are playing Brighton away, West Ham at home. We've got AZ out in the Europa League. We've got a Europa League game this week.
We've got Ferencváros this Thursday,
yeah. I mean, they're good ways to sort of build consistency, like keep that momentum going, and play players so they're sharp to come in and fill in, because Bergvall, Sarr, these players, they made an impact yesterday.
Yeah,
I know Bergvall didn't really play in the Europa League, but you know what I mean. We then got Crystal Palace away, City in the Carabao Cup, and Aston Villa at home, Galatasaray away, and Ipswich at home. Those are very winnable games, I think. I think Brighton will cause some problems with their pressing. West Ham are a joke at the moment. They're really, really poor, and we're at home there. And we're not playing a David Moyes West Ham where they're going to sit deep. And I don't know. I'm looking at these fixtures, even Aston Villa at home, and I'm thinking, if we can beat anyone playing how we played the last 2 weeks. What are your thoughts on that? I haven't really asked you a question yet, but
no, I totally agree. Brighton is
fixtures as well.
Brighton is going to be a fascinating game next Sunday. You look at how brave they were with the high line against Chelsea. How many times Chelsea got in behind them? Obviously, Brighton themselves kind of capitalised on the defensive areas at the back from Chelsea. Them trying to play out from the back, they're going to press high. They're going to get at you. But I also think their press is there to be got at as well, in terms of our ability to stunt that and our ability to press them high up the pitch and win the ball back again, like we spoke about in this game. And again, it's one that you're looking at for someone like Johnson with the high line, that pacing behind. Werner might play again as well. And again, with Werner yesterday, I actually thought he did all right other than the missed chances. It's just that in a game against Brighton away from home like that, you're going to need to be clinical, because they're going to hurt you as well. We're going to hurt you more than United did yesterday. So it's going to be a fascinating game. It might be a bit of a basketball one. And then, like you said, off the back of that, you've got Europa League games sandwiched in between. these games somewhere. We've got an international break coming up as well after the Brighton game, which gives us a bit of time to just obviously don't want it to stunt the momentum, but it's a good chance to just give some of these players a rest because, again, it's a hard trade-off, like we said earlier with the Europa League, where obviously the Europa League does give you that momentum, does able to let you go 4 on the bounce and get these players in form, of course. But then we've left ourselves short in some areas of the squad. So you want to minimise injury as much as possible. So, but again, some of these players are also going to be going away. So it's a really hard one. But like you said, after you come back, if you can keep that squad fully fit, West Ham is a winnable game at home, even though they always seem to turn up and play against us, no matter how shit they're in terms of form. Again, and then after that, you've got City in the Cup as well you've got to look at. You've got Crystal Palace away, who are a bit of a mess right now as well. And then, like you said, you've got Villa. And I think Villa, look, that's going to be a real kind of acid test, really, I think, for Spurs. Because, again, that's a winnable game. We should have beaten them at home last year. And we battered them away, of course, obviously. But we should have beaten them at home last year. It's going to be a big run. But I'm looking... But you know what? I'm looking... I think on paper, like on when I was looking at these fixtures a few weeks ago and when we weren't necessarily having the same, or we weren't feeling quite the same way. We knew where we were going, but we still wanted to see the results. You are looking at those fixtures of West Ham, Villa, etc., and Brighton, and thinking, "Oh, these are tough," and they're still tough. But that momentum into these games is massive, and I think we can cause Brighton a lot of problems on Sunday. So if we're able to get that win and win on Thursday and go 6-6 into the international break, then everybody's looking at Spurs completely differently. But Brighton's going to be a very tough but a very interesting game and a big test for Spurs again, because like we've been here. We spoke after the Arsenal game about the fact that we had Newcastle away and Arsenal at home earlier on into the season. 2 tests that we failed last season. Newcastle away, we got battered. Arsenal at home, set pieces, etc. Problem, which again didn't necessarily learn from this year, but we've definitely been more solid from them. But we still lost both of those games, just like we did last year. Brighton away, we got battered again last year, but we went there with so many injuries. If we can go there and say, no, we're going to put a marker down and we're not going to lose in the same way that we did to them, it's massive for Tottenham. So I'm in a mind state now where I'm relishing these games coming up, and that's not to say that I think we're going to win all of them, but I am. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what we can do because I know we're capable of results.
Yeah, I think the only thing is fitness and injuries and stuff. But we've got the international break in 2 weeks, so Odegaard will probably be back after that. Son will probably get rested. Maybe he won't go to South Korea.
Hopefully, that'll be good.
He probably will, but hopefully he just has a little bit of like recovery because he played so many games last season, and he just needs that bit of rest as he's getting older. I mean, we'll get onto it, not having Son in a minute, but yeah, I do get worried. However, we have got a team now and a system where players can come in and I can see them playing in those positions. And Europa League is going to help that. Bergvall was so unlucky that Dragusin got sent off because then we would have seen Bergvall in that Maddison position, a little bit deeper, dictating play. He can turn into a beast in that position, in that where Maddison's playing right now. Okay. So we've got these exciting sort of. I think the 2 players that can't get injured. I think we can win all these games, by the way, is what I'm saying. But I think if the 2 players we can't lose right now. Well, actually, I'm not too. I think 3 players, but more so 2 is Van der Ven and Kulusevski.
And Solanke.
I think those are the 2 types of players. And Solanke, yeah, 3. Oh, fuck. And 4 players. Romero, because I don't think Dragusin, you lose a bit. You lose so much of like what you said last week, the pause with Romero. But I think Van der Ven, Solanke, Kulusevski. But then that's our spine. And are we going to...
If any team loses that...
right now, but...
Exactly. If any team...
Yeah, exactly. But I think we got PTSD because we lost that last year.
Yeah,
and without Europe, so I think that's where the worry comes in because we know when we're playing well, the only thing we can get dismantled by injuries and fitness. But we're getting to the point we're seeing. Yeah, go on.
No, sorry, no, go on. I'll say it after.
Oh no, we're seeing the sort of project come to life now and come together because Bergvall is that in 5 years he's going to be world class Bergvall. Like everyone knows that, but
Yeah.
but he is a like for like almost type replacement for Maddison in this system where he is right now.
Yeah.
And we're seeing and the depth is starting to come to come. It is starting to come. Don't forget in January we're going to have players like Yang. Let's see how good he's going to be. He probably will have a loan. He'll probably go out on loan next summer. I reckon he'll have 6 months, but he could hit the ground running. We're starting to sort of collect these players that sort of come in and fit the system and are like for like replacements in the like worst case scenario. So I'm a little bit more confident.
I agree.
But what were you going to say? Sorry.
Well, also off the back of that, hopefully these players like Yang, etc., and Bergvall, obviously when he gets more opportunities, and Mikey Moore, obviously who came on yesterday as well, they're coming into a stable environment where the team are playing on the front
100%.
foot and they're playing well, and then that takes the pressure off. Again, Werner's kind of a good example of that as well. Right? I know he's not a kid, but obviously he missed those chances, but he's coming into a team where the team is flowing really well, and we actually didn't miss Son that much yesterday. I know we're going to talk about that.
No, we didn't.
A bit. Obviously, you miss him because with him on the pitch, the score changes if you put him in those two situations. Absolutely, of course. But in terms of the actual game itself, nothing really changes. What I was going to say, and sorry to interrupt you, I didn't know whether you finished making your point, but when you touched on Romero there, I thought he was excellent yesterday. Obviously, Van de Ven will get the Van de Ven was a joke. Like just the goal.
As always, though, he'll do something flashy or like in a good way. I'm not saying he's doing something flashy
twice this season.
I love it. Yeah, exactly.
But Romero, I thought I spoke about it in the video that I just uploaded on my channel about baiting Man United into the press because their press is quite half baked. It's quite half-assed. It's just like we might do it. It's not a clear kind of instruction and a tactic like we look at with Spurs. We're a pressing side. United are not a pressing side. But it reminded me so much of the we created a chance yesterday. I spoke about it in the video. I think it might be the one that Johnson hit the post. I think we were really patient at the back. Vicario, Romero, and Van de Ven just playing it to each other, and they're like, right, now we've got to come. And as soon as they come, bang, we're away down the left-hand side of Doggy, Werner, little link up, and then we move inside and we hit the post for Johnson. That's what Romero gives you, that ability just to put your foot on the ball and say, come on then, because I know I'm going to be able to break the lines with my passing, and if not, I know if you think I'm the trigger, then we're going to move it side to side and we're going to get down you that way. Just really, there were some moments in that game where I thought, let's just calm down a little bit. And I think the red card kind of almost helped us get that sort of bit of momentum back as well. But I wasn't that worried. But I think Romero's presence as the captain in that game as well, I thought he was absolutely excellent again. Fought defensively for the most part as well. But on the ball, in terms of that ability to progress, in terms of his running, but also with the passing and also being able to invite them and bait them into the press. I thought he was
got a bias as well.
Oh my, mate!
Did you think that was in?
I thought that and the Mikey Moore chance.
Dick's out if that goes in.
Dick's out, 100%.
100% Dick's out. That.
Yeah, I that one and the Moore one in the second half. I thought they were both in because
my god,
at Old Trafford, like we were like banging the corner, sort of like where you're looking at that down the other end at the Stretford end, you're right behind it. It's like, oh my god, it's in. And then the Mikey Moore one, ending towards you, and you're just like, no. It didn't go. But no, I thought Romero was excellent. And like you said, I said it the other day. It gives that pause. It gives that control.
Yeah,
superb player. And again, Van de Ven was a joke. Also a doggy. Sorry, as well. A doggy. I thought in that first half was fantastic.
Yeah, he was. His link up was a joke. It was really and his defense work. I don't think anyone had a bad game. Porro as well locked up. I know Rashford was.
Porro was brilliant.
He locked him up. Porro was brilliant, and that fucking pass to Solanke like late in the game was the one on the 1-on-1.
The little clipped half volley over the top. Yeah, that's one thing with Solanke.
Oh my god! I mean, that is what he can do.
Yeah, that's one thing with Solanke. I would say. Obviously, I put the video out and we spoke about the Kane comparisons the other day. I still stand by a lot of what I said, and I sort of had to spend the weekend weirdly qualifying it with some people sort of coming at me about it. That is the one thing, is the finishing, like because Kane buries that, and I think Solanke, once he gets into that room a little bit more, he should have scored that chance. But again, his overall play, he gets another little tap in where it's his clever movement in the box. from the corner, unmarked, by the way. I will say that was horrific defending when you watch it back.
Yeah.
But again, his overall play, his hard work, his pressing. I don't care if he scores. I don't care if he misses those chances. If he scores 25 tap-ins, because his overall, he's such an asset to this team in terms of his off-the-ball work, and when he wins it back, the quality that he's got at his feet and his tenacity and everything. So, yeah, that finish, you said about the Porro pass, and it just came into my head. That is something I'd like to see Solanke improve. That kind of snap finishing, but again, I thought he was great yesterday. Like I said, no one had a bad game. And you could see the relief at the end of the game with not relief, but like where the team got the clean sheet. They were celebrating that. They were all together. Come on, the defensive unit. So really good.
Yeah. And Spence was incredible as well. And that backs up my point of how our squad depth is slowly turning and improving, because he could be so valuable for us. And I'm not even worried about Doggy say he misses the Brighton game. I'm well, fucking hell. If he misses Europa League, it could have been Andy having Spence in Europa League, to be honest. And
God, what
doing there? But if Spence plays Brighton, I will have no worries. Whereas last year, if Ben Davies come in left back, or if Emerson came right back, I would be thinking, fuck me, like they do not fit the system. This is a problem. This is an issue. I don't see it as an issue at all. I mean, I'd rather have a Doggy than Spence, but that's what great depth does. It sort of just eases your worries, doesn't it? And you're looking at these fixtures saying, yeah, even with Spence, we could fucking do Brighton, we can do West Ham. Like I'm not too worried at all. It's just so different in it to have this at Spurs, and it's only going to get better. We're only going to improve the team. But the red card, it was interesting because I don't actually think it was relevant. But because we were battering them either way, we were battering them, and it was a sign of how frustrated we like you said we made Man United. But what I did, first of all, was it a red? I don't think it was a red.
No, I don't think it was either.
I don't think it was a red. I don't think it. But the thing that we did well was what I was saying when we lost to Arsenal was it's the shithousery forcing a decision. The reaction from all the players. I did a refereeing course because I'm a wanker. Yeah. And they say the referees are 100% when you make a decision and then you look at the reaction, and that sort of forces a red as well. That's actually a thing they go by. Look at the to sort of justify a decision. Look at the reaction. In the moment, it looked bad. Yeah, it did look bad, and the linesman thought it was a red as well because he was waving his flag. But we all went to the ref, everyone going mental, forced a red card. It was soft, but VAR couldn't really overturn it because in the laws of in the law book that probably is a red card. But that's what you want to see. I don't think we have that sort of nasty shithousery element in us. But like Johnson squaring up to Bruno after, like the aggressiveness, we suffocated Man United.
Stupid.
Yeah, you're stupid. Yeah,
you're stupid.
We
playground banter in it.
Yeah.
You're stupid. I love that from Johnson. I love the fact that he's got that biting in him.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, and you know what? I love the shushing as well. I fucking love that. I love Johnson, but I mean, even if it weren't a red, I don't fucking care because it's Bruno Fernandes and he's a rat. And this was a long time coming. Yeah, exactly. But we forced the ref's hand there. Drew shithousery, and I want to see more of that and that sort of like nasty element, because we can, if we add that to our game, we can suffocate the opposition in every single way. The press, in possession, and forcing refereeing decisions, and just I mean, you see it with Arsenal, you see it with Man City. This is how challengers and winners are. So I want to see more of that. I really like that because
I agree.
That's how you win games. Let's get on to some of the questions. Most of the questions were about Son, and that's how we'll talk about Werner. But let me find it. It was interesting because I think a lot of us didn't want to see Werner, but I think overall, he
beg your pardon.
Yeah, okay. His end product was shocking, but don't you just expect that? You expect that he's a limited player, but in the system and his overall game, I didn't think it was bad at all. And he almost went unnoticed for the majority of it until he was 1-on-1 with the keeper, or until he had to make that final pass. So I thought he was fine. I thought he was fine.
Agreed.
How do you think he went? How do you think he
didn't really have any complaints with his performance, except for again, obviously the chances, which are just inexcusable, kind of at this level, to be honest. Especially the first one. Like, I felt like watching it live, like Onana made that so easy for him. It felt like like on FIFA or an Ultimate Team where people move the goalkeeper to try and put you off.
Yeah.
It felt a bit like that. He kind of moved over, and it was almost just like he had the opportunity to go round him.
Oh yeah. It was like that. It was like that. He could have just gone round him. There was so much space for him to go around it, and also he didn't hit it with any like assurance. He needs to just be more sure, and it just shows he's lacking in confidence in the final pass, in his dribbling. Although that was okay, that wasn't too bad, but his finishing, he just needs to be a bit more sure, and he'll find the net more. Even if if he thinks he knows what he's going to do before he does it, and he commits to it, even if he forces a better save than what Onana did both times, they weren't good saves; it were poor misses.
Yeah, exactly.
He just needs to be more sure. Yeah,
and also, there was a few cutback opportunities as well. It was just there was one in the second half, which we had about 4 players in the box, and he just went behind everybody. So it's just moments of quality like that, or moments that expose the lack of quality like that, where you need someone who's a killer in there. But I thought, other than that, he was absolutely fine in his performance. I actually think he had the better of Mazraoui, 100%. There was a few.
Yeah,
it was funny, isn't it? Because I thought he actually looked quite confident at the start of the game. There was one really nice little move where we played him and Doggy seemed to have a good understanding of each other.
Yeah.
There was one moment where he got played down the line. He made a beautiful touch inside to get away from Mazraoui and then laid the ball off.
It was 2 players, wasn't it? There was 2 players around him. He just tapped it in reverse direction. I don't know what I'm fucking saying.
No, I know what you mean. He did. He opened his body up and sort of took it with him. He did really well for the chance where Johnson hit the post as well. A Doggy, that was a great dummy. And then Werner basically did the same thing, and it went through Werner, and then a Doggy just got onto it. So they had a good understanding of each other. But that I think Jack's kind of put a question that kind of, so we should probably go to that.
Let's go to it.
That kind of focuses on this, but look, we're going to create a lot of chances, regardless of who's on that left hand side. But I said this in my video. If you look at the average positions of the game yesterday, and obviously we can't show you this now, but if you go on to SofaScore and look at the average positions of Spurs, we were able to actually overload that right hand side really well, with Kulusevski and Johnson both kind of running into that channel and floating in there. Solanke going out into that right hand channel as well, which actually left a lot of space on the left wing for a Doggy and Werner to stay that little bit more high and wide. And we'd so many times where we'd move the ball from right to left and get it out to them. So you need killers there. You do need, and I think the Doggy obviously had a couple of shots yesterday, but if a Doggy gets in a position where he's through 1-on-1, I think he's probably going to score. Back his technical ability. Yeah. And that's where you miss Sonny. That's where, of course, you miss Sonny. But again, this is a reality check sort of for us now, in the sense that, look, he's 32 years old. He's going to pick up these little hamstring injuries, etc. And we might be missing him for a few games. And I don't mind Werner playing in the next few games. It's just that if we go to Brighton away next week and are able to exploit their high line with his pacing behind, and he misses a few more 1-on-1s and it costs us the game, unlike it did yesterday, that's when it becomes, again, a real frustration. But yeah.
Well, I was quietly pleased with Werner, but it was infuriating him missing. But this kind of thing that you expect him to do. And thing is, he's not going to be a permanent signing, is he? He's just there for this. I mean, Mikey Moore's not quite ready yet. Odebear's a young player. Yang's coming in at January. Son, he's injured. Werner stepped up, and you can't really ask for much more than what he did. But he just needs. If Son was there, he would have finished it. And he's not. He's a stopgap, like you said. So, but also not someone to get really over, to dwell on a lot. Exactly. He's not really that type of player, because he's going soon. So just take it as it comes. He's limited,
and he might be. Again, I do think in a system that he does. Look, he's not. That was his best performance that he's put in for us actually in a long time. Because whenever he's come on this season, it's like, oh my god, like this guy is just not good 100%. Enough. Whereas actually, starting from the game yesterday, I thought it was fine. Coventry, he was dire. But yesterday he stepped up a bit for us. It's just that finishing that's got to improve.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he just had a bit like match sharpness. Maybe he just needed a couple games to get into it, because he's not like a very gifted player, is he?
No, he's quite one-dimensional.
Just needed that bad game, and exactly. But
also,
I don't know.
I was going to say,
what were you saying? Sorry, because
sorry, I was going to say, like, I think we sort of said it against Brentford, maybe after the Brentford game, where yes, we're still dominating possession in games, but we are looking a lot more direct than we had been in the sort of, where we looked a bit toothless up front towards the end of last season, maybe at the start of this season, where we were sort of moving the ball side to side and playing horseshoe football, not being able to break down teams. In these sorts of games where you are playing more in transition a lot of the time, he actually can be super effective because his movement is good and his ability to run into the space and his pace is great. So if he gets more chances, he's probably going to score them. But it's just like you do really need someone on that left wing. And again, we've been spoiled with Sonny for so long, where I've said it so many times I'm blue in the face. Like you just know that he's going to go through and score those chances. But also, if my granny had bollocks, she'd be my granddad. You know what I mean? It didn't affect the result. And yes, Sonny would have scored, but yeah, I thought his performance was fine.
You do make an interesting point now, because when Johnson is a transitional player, Werner is a transitional player, Son's a transitional player, but when you then have Maddison playing centrally, Kulusevski playing centrally, where they gravitate wide anyways, you almost create like a six-a-side on one side of the pitch. Alonso and Nagelsmann do this all the time, and then you can switch the ball, or the space opens up, and they thread a pass through to Johnson or Werner, which we see all the time. Well, they're out of the game, which really that's what you want. They're not players in possession and build up. Their link up play is is good in the system because they're in triangles constantly. But when you almost create false transitional scenarios for them, where they have they have one man on the shoulder, like a defender on the shoulder. They have space to run into, and because you've squeezed the pitch so small on one side of the pitch, that space opens up for them to 100%. Run into out wide, and you're getting the best out of them in that way. That you're creating transitional scenarios out of nothing in the attacking final third.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's genius, because they're not players you want involved. They're players you want. The only thing is the confidence, but the confidence is coming from Brennan Johnson. But they're players you want on the transition or to just put the ball in the back of the net when they're in space.
Yeah.
And
especially when you've got players
that sort of clicking. But
yeah, especially when you've got players that can move the ball as quickly as Maddison and Kulusevski as well, and drive from that
it
side.
Just work.
It's like you sort of,
and Solanke drawing defenders away as well and creating that space.
Exactly. And it's like you almost look at that back four yesterday. It was kind of like, when we used to play with that almost under Mourinho, where we had that elbow back four, where it was like Reguilon would go and Aurier would sort of tuck in that little bit more and make more of a back three. And Porro's not really doing that, but Porro's role in this team is a bit more disciplined. But again, when you've got the long, it's like Trent, right? Again, Trent doesn't have to go forward all the time and be on the edge of the box and sort of be like involved as that real inverted fullback. But what you have got in Trent is that ability to ping that diag on a sixpence to Diaz or Gakpo or whatever, or Mane in the pass down that side, right?
Yeah, no, exactly.
And that's the same now when you're looking at the position. Honestly, those average positions for Spurs are fascinating because it tells you a lot. And like you said, you mentioned it with a pass from Porro from deep earlier to Solanke. I know it was kind of over the top in the channel, but spraying diags. Think of last season where Porro sit that little bit deeper, his long-range passing ability over the top for Richarlison against Newcastle. And if you've got Werner or Son and a doggy down that side, a doggy's clearly got a bit more license now to get up and down like a Danny Rose.
Yeah.
Rather than sort of being, and again, also I thought yesterday the inverted approach when a doggy did come inside a lot did work, because again it opens back up that space for Werner, and it just shows now we're still implementing a lot of the initial principles and tactics that Ange brought with him with those inverted fullbacks at times, certainly more with the doggy than Porro, but because you're only doing it a little bit and allowing the doggy to be that more traditional fullback at times as well, it's making us far less predictable. But like you said, where you can really overload one side of the pitch, with Solanke making those channel runs, Johnson holding the width, Kulusevski drifting out there as well, them playing in tandem, their relationship I think is really blossoming as well. Porro sat that little bit deeper, not as involved as much. It means, again, like I said, transitioning from one side of the pitch to the other, whether it's that long pass from Porro, whether it's Kulusevski driving, or whether it's Maddison playing that ball with the outside of his foot. That structure and that balance and that attacking, that danger is really there. And I think it's all
100%.
Back to what we were saying earlier, it's all coming together.
Yeah, and like it's Johnson. When you create in such a small pitch, but you have Johnson out wide, that it spaces. They're stretching the defensive line and creating pockets of space for like when Maddison makes the sort of shadow striker running behind, or Solanke can find holes, and Kulusevski, Maddison, they have the creative freedom to find either a spray ball or out wide, or set through Solanke or Son, whoever's up front in on goal. It's working, and there's we create this. It's an amalgamation of attackers that do different things, that create different problems for a defense, and they can never set. They can't set. They don't know what we're going to do next when we're in this sort of flow state. So,
well, what were you talking about earlier? What were you talking about earlier with that freedom? Kulusevski actually said that in a again. I spoke about Kulusevski's interview earlier, but I'm pretty sure he said something yesterday like, the first few games we were playing well, but we forgot to have fun. I think he said something like that. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
After the game yesterday, and it's that freedom within that structure. When it clicks, everyone is just like you said, you said it. I thought that was a really good point earlier when you said about like Maddison and Kulusevski, because they are. That's a really important role. That responsibility has brought the best out of them off the ball and on the ball as well. So I think that basically what you're trying to say is Ange built a super team.
Yeah, and we're fucking winning the league. Yeah,
exactly. So show everyone else.
5 points off the league, so you know what I mean.
Could we?
It's not looking bad. It's not looking bad. But a lot of questions were about Sonny, because obviously, is this an insight, like an early insight in life at Tottenham after Son? There was quite a few questions. So George Bipolar under THFC says _THFC says 3-0 away from home, our best away performances, Man United 9 months. No Son in both games. Is it time to start dropping Son? Okay. Next one, Matt Sipola.
Yeah.
With Sonny's career winding down with the club, who is the next player to be the face of Tottenham? Not saying I want Son to leave, but probably will happen in the next couple of years. Due to age, I'm going to just say El Capitan, Christian Werner, if he stays. Yeah. If we could promise him to be the captain in the next couple of years, and if maybe Son, I'm going to get onto it. If Son gets to the point where he's not playing every game, Son's the captain, quote unquote, but Romero basically is the captain.
Yeah, it's like the Lloris Kane
really sway him in a new deal.
Yeah, it's like the kind of the
exactly,
Lloris Kane.
Exactly.
Kane was,
yeah. So, what were you saying? Sorry.
No, sorry. Well, no. It's I guess Romero then becomes who's the franchise player. Like I guess when Son leaves, that's kind of the question anyway. But
World Cup winner Romero, no, or Kulusevski if he carries on this form. But
could be Decky.
It could be if he fulfills the potential that he's showing, possibly, but probably like 5 years,
too early.
10 years. Yeah, too early right now. But But it was Jack's question. Jack says, not a question, but would like to hear a breakdown on Darren doing pod of how Werner showed what a rapid winger that can go both ways and has end product can do for us. Obviously, Werner don't have end product, but if Werner had end product, he would have scored those 2 goals.
Yeah.
Son not mobile enough to do this anymore. Put Anthony Gordon, for example, there yesterday, and he gets 3 goals and assists.
Oh God, yeah.
Jack's been saying this for a while, but he would be the ultimate Ange winger, Anthony Gordon, and there's rumours that his contract's like his negotiation with Newcastle isn't working. He would be perfect, everything. But I feel like that's for another pod, the Anthony Gordon situation. But the thing on Son, Werner's switch of direction is there. That's something he has that maybe Son doesn't at the moment.
Well, we should say for context that Jack in this question he quoted the clip of where Werner gets past Mazraoui on the outside, then cuts it back behind all 4 players in the box. That's good. Yeah. So it's
right. Yeah. With end product, you can see it come like how significant it would be for scoring more goals. And but I think Son's Mr. Tottenham, and he is Mr. Tottenham.
Yeah.
But that performance showed that. Okay, from a global viewpoint, he's Mr. Tottenham, but actually in the way we play, he isn't. He isn't. I reckon there's about 5 players ahead of him that are more important to Spurs in the way we play right now than him, and that's good
point
for future planning because he's 32 years old. And I think we'll get to the point where we're bleeding through the youngsters like Marky Moore, Odebear, Yang that fit the system that aren't as good as him at all, no way near, like levels below, but they have the potential. And they can fit this system better than him probably.
Yeah.
As for their personnel, with the way they can switch direction quickly, can beat a man both ways. I know Son can do that, but He's 32, and that's a sort of regression in his performances because of his age. He is unbelievable, but and I don't think that him not playing is a link to us winning, because we would have scored 2 more. He would have done exactly what Werner did, and we would have scored, but he would have put them away because he's one of the best in the business at scoring those types of goals 1-on-1. You know he's going to put it in the bottom corner. We would have won 5-0 with Son yesterday. I don't think it's related to him playing. I don't think it's related to him not playing that we won that game. But it's interesting because it's showing that we don't really need him. But you love to have him. Do you know what I mean?
Oh God, yeah.
He's not vital for this team. He's not, but he is an incredible captain player to have in your squad. And he I'd say he still is world class.
Yeah, 100%. World class finishing ability, world class movement as well. And I think, again, if you're kind of, from what you're inferring there, if we're in the position in the next couple of years where you've got Son Heung-Min as a luxury squad player, that's great. Like, that is just exactly. Is great. And like you said, I think we're so dynamic in other areas of the pitch in our attack that I think there's a lot of players that could play there. Odegaard could play there, because it's like, well, a lot of the work, like we've already spoke about, is being done on the other side of the pitch a lot of the time to move it over there. City did the same thing so much last year with a similar dynamic of De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva or whatever on that right-hand side. They lure everyone over, and then that switch to Doku. And then it's like, if you've got someone in space there, Odegaard will thrive there. Mikey Moore could thrive there as well. And look, this isn't going to how Spurs are going to play forever. It's not going to be the same in every game. But yeah, I think for so long I was and look, the day that Sonny leaves Spurs is going to be gutting, and he's such a legend, and I really hope we can go out with if we go out with a trophy with him, then I will not be upset about him finishing his, I will not be. That will be such a nice way to do it, and then we can just he can almost sail off into the sunset, because he's been such an amazing player for us, and an amazing captain, an amazing role model, and all these things. So a trophy massively eases that blow, but I don't feel like this transition to the next player is actually going to be a huge problem on that left-hand side, to be honest.
No, I don't think so. And I think, well, it looks like we have like is it a succession plan? Like we that's in place because of the players we're bringing in. We've got a plan for the future for a life without Son. Because when these players reach their like peak, Son, that's probably when Son's career at Spurs ends. So but the Anthony Gordon thing's interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say about Anthony Gordon. I mean, Gordon would be great, and Jack has banged this drum for a long time. We obviously looked at him a while ago. He literally would be perfect. But if Newcastle just go down the pan and start being shit, I wouldn't mind Harvey Barnes there either, to be honest.
Harvey Barnes.
Ooh, it's an equaliser. I wouldn't mind Barnes.
An equaliser. Yeah, Harvey Barnes. I think about the left wingers is that you've got 4 players. Okay, Son, we're talking about like after Son, but say we bring in Anthony Gordon, we've got Son, Gordon. I know Gordon can play right, but he's predominantly a left winger.
Yeah.
Son, Gordon, Odegaard, who's predominantly a left or middle, and Yang, Mikey Moore. Like, do you know? I think, and then you look at the right hand side, you got Johnson, because Kulusevski, he's found his position, and he can't play right. But I think maybe an Mbeumo on the other side, someone like that. I just see that working. I think that would. He's not like a 1v1 dribbler like Gordon is necessarily, but I think in this system, in that sort of Brennan Johnson role, he would be so good. And then you just trust Odegaard to sort of in the next couple of years come to light. Mikey Moore coming through. Yang, let's see how he does. I don't know. I think let's hold on the left winger for now, because we've got 3 players with such great potential on that left to sort of replace Son.
Yeah.
Whereas I think we need to look at the right. I know Gordon can play right, but I don't know. He would be perfect for this left wing spot if we didn't have someone of the levels of Son. I know he doesn't fit the system necessarily, but you don't just drop Son like that. It's
no, Son's fit.
You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Until his legs are fully gone, you just keep playing Son, and maybe look at the right wing. It's complicated, but that's what depth does.
Do you think this change in approach in the system, in a way, these kind of subtle tweaks from Postecoglou, is geared towards being able to make the most out of a player that might not give you the legs anymore in Sonny, but you can still get the most out of him?
Yeah, Yeah, you just need him to finish like that, like what we were saying. You get him in situations where all he needs to do in this system is finish because he's the best finisher in the world. Like Werner, he did the basics really well, linked up well. He did that, but he didn't have the end product. And that's what Son would have. I don't think it's. Like I say, I think Son was. I think people were thinking. Oh, Son wasn't playing, and we won 3-0 at Old Trafford. But come on, like it's Sonny. Like he would have finished those two chances, and we'd be saying how good he is now.
Yeah.
But again, like I was saying, what we have seen is that he hasn't got as much significance as he used to.
Yeah, and that's not a bad system
in place. It's not a bad thing because we're coming to the end of his Tottenham career, so it's actually a good thing, if anything. And change is good. Change is good, but it's hard. It's hard to say goodbye to legends and heroes, and it would be devastating if he ended his Spurs chapter without a trophy. But got fucking big Ange Postecoglou, and fuck it, we're going to win the league.
Exactly. Fuck it.
All right, let's wrap it there because I'm late to my lecture.
Let's go.
My pants. But Ben, legends, everyone, thanks for getting your questions in.
Up Spurs.
What a fucking way to start your week, waking up on a 3-0 win at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Everyone, you legends, thank you. Quiz, and on to
Up Spurs.
Whoever we're playing in the Europa League.
Whoa!